Here with very dapper Al Strachan in Toronto, John Davidson's in New York, Red Fisher in Montreal. And Red, let's begin with you. Your thoughts on Maple Leaf Gardens?
Well, when you think Maple Leaf Gardens, I at least go back to 1967, which, as all of you know, was the last time they won a Stanley Cup in Toronto. And the Canadians and the Maple Leafs, they're about ready to start their, their final series. And I called Punch with a rather inane question. I said, "How are you guys going to do against the Canadians?" And he thought about it for a while, and he says, "Well, how do you think we're going to do against the Canadians?" I said, "They're too quick for you, they're too fast, they're younger, you haven't got a chance." Well, Punch comes right back and he says, "They'll never beat me with a junior B goaltender." And of course he was referring to Rogie Vachon, who had been called up by the Canadiens and played pretty well for him. And you know what? And then of course I said to him, I said, "Was that on the record, Punch, or was that off the record?" He says, "You called me for a story, didn't you?" And bang, down goes the telephone. And of course, as we all know, what happened was Rogie went out there in game one. The Canadians won 6-2. It was a snap. The Canadians lost the next two games. Won game 4. Rogie was out after the second period of game 5. Gump Worsley came in and Gump played the 6th game, so Punch was right all along. Can you imagine, guys, a coach today saying something like what Imlach said that day? Amazing.
No, but you've been touting Vachon for the Hall of Fame ever since.
And he should be there. 300-plus wins. Didn't Toll Blake come back with predictions are for gypsies? Is that the same?
Absolutely. I told Blake what Imlach had said, and he says, "Predictions are for gypsies."
Boy, they were the best, those two. John, how about you?
Basically, Ronnie, I remembered mostly growing up in Western Canada in various towns around Alberta, mostly in the city of Calgary, and every Saturday night waiting with bated breath. And we were younger in those days. You'd only get to 2 periods on hockey night in Canada, so we were hoping. The best games were when Toronto played Montreal at either the Forum or or Maple Leaf Gardens, and we could hardly wait to watch those games. Going there for the first time as a player was remarkable. Just seeing the place that you had seen on television and finally having this opportunity to see it. Then as a broadcaster, the gondola to me meant a whole lot. To get up inside there and sit and look down at this whole place from above was remarkable. And now I get a real kick out of going back into Maple Leaf Gardens, guys, when I go in with various teams, mostly the Rangers, but when you see the looks on the rookie players on the team that you're with. To see Mark Savard, a young Ranger player, go in there this year for the first time as a pro and look around that place, and it just hits them all. They all have big eyes and big smiles, and the family's there. It's a remarkable place.
Manny Malhotra, and the only thing wrecked it is Wayne took the puck. Just kidding, Wayne. I'm going to give it to you again later. All right, Al, you look good, and that's nice for a big occasion here. How about your feelings?
Well, Conn Smythe would address this way on opening night, I figured, so I might as well. I grew up in Windsor, Ontario, and we had that situation down there where the Red Wings could black out the Leafs games, so we didn't get to see as many as most, and we used to have to listen to them on the radio like Red did when he was young. Fortunately, I'm not that age. So I had to read about it a lot, and the thing that struck me about it was the importance of this building to our troops in World War II. When you read about that, how they used to fly the tapes over and what it meant as a unifying element to this entire country. It was a fantastic building in that sense.
The only pet peeve that you have tonight is with Cliff not being here.
Oh,
really?
That's a shame. He should have been invited. I think it's wrong not to invite the man. I don't know whose vendetta that is, but it's definitely wrong. He's the one that's made this building what it is today in the recent sense, because Harold Ballard pretty well destroyed everything with regard to its grandeur and its heritage. Cliff brought all that back, plus he created most of the team. He's the guy that put the team together that went to the quarterfinal, the semifinals twice. He's the one who brought in Gilmore, he brought in Pat Burns, and he's responsible for most of the team that's out there tonight. And to not invite him, I think, is disgraceful.
Al, he brought it out of the dark ages. He brought it out of the dark ages. He made that place shine again, which was very special to a lot of people.
That's
and
right.
Cliff should be mentioned about doing that.
All right, Red, I don't want to cut you off on that point because you obviously have a thought, but let's hear it after the commercial.
Satellite Hot Stove. Brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevrolet, tried, tested, and true.